Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. You're listening to the English Mastery and Self-Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Emma, and I am so excited to welcome you to our high-tech studio here in Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Can you hear that? The city outside never stops. Everyone is rushing, everyone is busy, but here in this room, we are going to take a deep breath. Today, we are not just practicing your English listening skills. We are doing something much bigger. We are going to talk about a secret, a rule that the most successful people in the world use to get more done while working less. It's called the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto Principle.
That's right, Emma. And hello to everyone joining us today. I'm Liam. You know, I talk to so many students who say, Liam, I study for 4 hours a day, but I still can't speak English fluently. Or professionals who say, I work 60 hours a week, but I'm not happy.
Exactly. It feels like we are running, but we aren't moving forward.
Precisely. In today's episode, we want to show you that you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things. By listening to this podcast, you are already doing the Power 20%. You're combining language learning with personal development. This is the most efficient way to grow.
I love that. It's about being smart, not just being tired. So, if you are ready to stop the hustle and start seeing real results in your English and your life, stay tuned.
Let's dive into the world of Pareto, right here in the heart of the Big Apple.
You know, Liam, looking out the window of this studio at the Empire State Building, it's beautiful. But when I look down at the people on the street, everyone looks so exhausted. To be honest, I feel exactly like them. I feel like I'm running on a treadmill. I'm moving my legs fast, I'm sweating, but I'm not actually going anywhere.
That is a classic New York feeling, Emma. We call it the grind. People think that if they aren't busy every second, they aren't successful. But actually, being busy is often a form of laziness.
Laziness? How can being busy be lazy? I work 10 hours a day.
Well, actually, it's mental laziness. It's easier to do 100 small, unimportant tasks than to focus on the one big, difficult task that actually changes your life. This is where the Pareto Principle, or the 80-20 rule, comes in.
I've heard the name, Pareto. It sounds like a fancy Italian pasta dish.
Not quite. Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian economist. In the early 1900s, he noticed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by only 20% of the people. Then he looked at his garden, and this is the interesting part. He saw that 20% of his pea pods produced 80% of the peas.
So nature follows this rule too?
Exactly. It's a mathematical imbalance that exists everywhere. In business, 80% of sales come from 20% of customers. In your phone, 80% of your texts are with 20% of your contacts. And in your life, 80% of your stress probably comes from only 20% of your problems.
Wow. So if I have 10 things to do today, you're saying only 2 of them actually matter?
Precisely. The other 8 are just noise. If you spend all your energy on the noise, you have nothing left for the vital few.
Let's talk about English. This is for our listeners at home. I remember when I started learning, I tried to memorize every single word in the dictionary. I felt so overwhelmed. I thought, I will never be able to speak like Liam.
To be honest, Emma, even I don't know every word in the dictionary. The English language has over 600,000 words. But here is the 80-20 secret. You only need about 2,000 to 3,000 words to understand 80% of everyday English.
Just 2,000? That sounds much more manageable.
Exactly. If you focus on the power 20%, which are the most common verbs, nouns, and daily phrases, you can survive in New York perfectly fine. but many students spend 80% of their time studying rare grammar rules that even native speakers don't use correctly.
Like the future perfect continuous?
Exactly. By next year, I will have been studying. Well, actually, in a real conversation at a coffee shop on Fifth Avenue, you just need to know how to say, "I'd like a coffee, please," and "How much is this?"
So, for our listeners, the advice is stop trying to be perfect with the 100% and start being excellent with the 20%. Focus on the words you actually hear in movies, in this podcast, and on the street. That is your golden path. Let's move to the office. I see people in this building staying until 9 p.m. every night. Are they all doing the vital 20?
Sadly, no. Most people are busy with shallow work, checking emails every 5 minutes, attending long meetings that have no purpose, or chatting on Slack. It feels like work, but it's actually procrastination in disguise.
Procrastination in disguise. I love that. It's like I'm lying to myself that I'm being productive.
We all do it. To be honest, the 20% tasks are usually the hardest. They require deep work. It's writing that difficult report, designing a new product, or making a scary phone call to a client. Because it's hard, our brain wants to do the easy 80% instead.
So, how do we fix it? In a city like New York, there are so many distractions.
You have to be ruthless. Every morning, before you open your email, identify your top two. Ask yourself, if I only do these two things today, will I be happy? If the answer is yes, do them first. Don't touch your email until the 20% is done.
That sounds difficult. I feel like I need to answer everyone immediately.
Well, actually, the world won't end if you wait 2 hours to reply to an email, but your career might stall if you never finish your big projects. Remember, you are not a task-answering machine. You are a creator.
This is my favorite part. Can we apply 80/20 to our social lives? Because, to be honest, I have so many friends on social media, but sometimes I feel quite lonely in this big city.
This is a very common feeling in the digital age. But if you look at your life closely, Emma, 80% of your joy and support comes from a very small group of people, maybe 3 or 4 people.
My mom, my best friend, and maybe you, Liam.
I'm honored. But think about it. We spend so much energy trying to please everyone, people we don't even like, or people we haven't seen in 10 years. We give 80% of our attention to the trivial many and neglect the vital few.
So I should stop worrying about what 500 people think of my photo and start focusing on a real dinner with my best friend.
Precisely. Invest your time where the return is highest. In New York, we talk about ROI, return on investment. Your heart has an ROI too. Spend your time with the people who make you feel alive. That is the ultimate 80/20 strategy for happiness.
Liam, this has been so eye-opening. I feel like I can finally step off that treadmill I mentioned earlier. I don't need to do more. I need to do less, but better.
That's the spirit. To be honest, it takes a lot of courage to do less. Our society screams at us to do everything, but the wise person knows that perfection is impossible, but impact is very possible.
Impact is possible. I like that. So, to our listeners, today, look at your English notes, look at your work desk, look at your phone. Find your 20%. Focus on the gold and let go of the dust.
Well said, Emma. It's time to work smart, not hard.
Liam, everything you just said about the 80/20 rule is fascinating. It's like a light bulb went on in my head. But for our listeners to really master this mindset, we need to look at the specific language we used. There are a few golden words that are definitely part of that vital 20% of English vocabulary.
I agree, Emma. To be honest, if you learn these core words today and start using them, your English will sound much more professional. Let's look at the words that help us describe how to choose what matters.
Let's start with a word we used when talking about tasks. Impactful. Impactful.
Impactful. This word is very popular in American business culture. It means having a major effect or making a big difference. In the 80-20 rule, the 20% of your tasks are the impactful ones.
So instead of saying this task is very important, I can say this task is very impactful.
Exactly. Well, actually, impactful is stronger. It suggests that the result will change things. For example, choosing the right 2,000 words to learn is an impactful decision for a student. It focuses on the power of the result.
I love that. Now, to find those impactful tasks, we often have to do the opposite, which brings us to our next word, eliminate. Eliminate.
To eliminate means to completely remove or get rid of something that is not wanted or needed. To follow Pareto, you must eliminate the 80% of activities that waste your time.
Like eliminating sugar from your diet.
Precisely. Or eliminating trivial emails from your morning routine. In New York, we are always trying to eliminate distractions. If you eliminate the noise, you can hear the music. It's a very active, powerful verb.
That leads us to the pair we mentioned earlier, vital versus trivial.
These are the heart of our topic. Vital, V-I-T-A-L, means absolutely necessary or essential. You cannot survive without vital things. In your English journey, listening is a vital skill.
And trivial, Trivial, is the dust we talked about.
Exactly. Trivial means unimportant or of very little value. To be honest, most of the things we worry about in a day are trivial. If you spend 80% of your energy on trivial problems, you will be exhausted. A tip for our listeners, focus on the vital 20% and don't sweat the trivial 80%.
Word number 4 is one of my favorites for setting goals, manageable. Manageable.
Manageable means if something is manageable, it means it is possible to deal with or control. It is not too much.
So when we break a big project into small steps, we make it manageable.
Precisely. Well, actually, that is the secret to success in this city. New York is huge, but if you take it one street at a time, it becomes manageable. For our students, don't try to learn English in a month. That's not manageable. Learn 3 phrases a day. That is manageable.
And our final word, which connects everything, invest. Invest.
We see this word every day on the news near Wall Street, but you don't just invest money, you invest your time and your focus.
I used to say I spend time studying, but you prefer I invest time. Why?
There is a deep difference, Emma. When you spend something, it is gone, but when you invest, you expect it to grow and give you a return. If you invest 20 minutes in this podcast, you get a return in better English and a better life. It's about being smart with your capital, and your time is your most valuable capital.
Invest in the impactful. I think I've got it.
Exactly. These 5 words, impactful, eliminate, vital, manageable, and invest, are your power tools today.
Thank you, Liam. That was a very manageable and impactful lesson.
As we sit here in this studio, looking out at the massive skyscrapers of New York, it's very easy to fall into a trap. The trap of thinking that more is always better. We want more money, more friends, more English words, and more hours of work.
It feels like a race that never ends.
Exactly. But the truth of the universe, the Pareto Principle, tells us something different. It tells us that less is often more. Success is not about doing everything. Success is about doing the right things.
So, if I'm an English learner and I feel tired today, what should I do?
If you feel tired, I want you to stop. Take a deep breath. Look at your life and your studies. Ask yourself, which 20% of my actions make me smile? Which 20% actually help me grow? Once you find that gold, give yourself permission to ignore the rest.
Give yourself permission to ignore the rest. That's a very powerful idea, Liam. It's like cleaning a garden. You don't need to water every single weed. You just need to water the flowers that you want to see bloom.
Precisely. You don't need to be perfect in everything. In fact, perfection is a trivial goal. Impact is a vital goal. Be excellent in the few things that truly matter to your soul.
To summarize for our friends listening at home, don't worry about every single mistake you make in English. Focus on the phrases that let you connect with people. In your life, don't try to please everyone. Focus on the 20% of people who truly love you.
Focus on the vital, everyone. That is where your power lies. Thank you, Liam, for this beautiful wisdom. And to our listeners, we have one final task for you. What is the 20% in your life right now? What is the one thing that gives you the most happiness? Think about it. Write it down. Work smart, live deeply. We'll see you in the next episode.